I have a question for you. Do you know yourself?
Yes.
Do you know yourself? By looking at you, I would say that you're not too sure, and that's okay. It's a hard question to answer. Besides, sometimes we think we know ourselves only to find out that we are completely wrong. When I was in high school, I knew myself. I knew that I was ugly, awkward, nerdy, and that my classmates were talking behind my back. You fast forward a few decades later, I meet with some of my high school classmates, and I mentioned how I knew I was the ugly, awkward, nerdy girl in the class, and they were surprised because they didn't see me that way, because they thought they were the ugly, awkward ones. I thought they were all right, and I thought they were all right. That conversation with my friends taught me something. We all knew, we thought we knew ourselves, but we were wrong. Is this the exception or the rule? As a therapist, I talk to a lot of people a lot. And these are a few conversations that I have had. One day I meet with a teenage girl, very pretty, very smart, very articulate, but she tells me that she feels awful because she's very ugly. Why are you ugly? Because my boyfriend broke up with me. Her problem is not her looks. Her problem is her thought process that leads to a distorted self-perception. Another example, I meet with a teenage boy, smart, funny, and he feels like a complete loser. Why are you a loser? Because I got a C in my test. Why would a C make you a loser? Oh, because with a C, it's going to be very hard for me to get into a good college, and if I don't get into a good college, my life is ruined. There we go. His problem is not his C or his grades, it's his thought process that leads to a distorted self-perception. Is this exclusive to teenagers? No. I have talked to a lot of adults, and I have heard horrible things you don't even want to know. Has your thought process always been the way it is right now? No. When you were little, your thoughts were along the lines of, I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm charming, I'm cute, I'm important. Even when you were learning how to walk, you were able to celebrate every step that you were able to take instead of beating yourself up every time you fell down. If we had to learn how to walk as adults, many of us would still be crawling because we give it a try, we fall a few times, we beat ourselves up, we call ourselves losers, and no, we're not good at this stuff. So there we go. For many years, you had no problem saying out loud how wonderful, cute, important you were, until some adult with great intentions told you, sweetheart, you're getting a little too old to say those things. It's not humble. And you learned, and you paid attention, and you realized that no adult around you would say out loud how wonderful they were. All the opposite. One day, for example, your dad is driving you to school, and he pushes the gas pedal instead of the brakes. Oh, I'm an idiot, he says. Or your teacher, she spills her coffee all over her papers. Oh, I'm so stupid. And you learn, and you think it's funny, and you want to join the self-deprecating crowd. Therefore, one day, you trip and you fall and you say, oops, I'm so clumsy. And one day you make a mistake and you say, oops, I'm so dumb. If a 3-year-old says out loud that she's cute, we will all think that she's adorable, and we will all agree. If I say out loud that I'm cute, we will all think that I'm weird and ridiculous. It's not socially acceptable to say out loud for me how wonderful or cute I am. But if I slam my finger with a drawer and I say, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid, nobody will even blink. Remember this. The first times you call yourself stupid or dumb, you knew you were lying. It felt like a lie because deep in your heart, you knew you were wonderful. But as you keep on saying those things over and over, something is happening. You start changing your thought process, and that makes you change your self-perception. And that's a real tragedy because that's the moment you start forgetting about your greatness. What's going on? Why is our brain like this? One, we have in our brain we have two systems. System number one, very old, very primitive, very impulsive. I will represent it as a lizard. So this lizard only cares about one thing, your survival. Doesn't care about your happiness, your waistline, your popularity. It doesn't even have common sense. Only cares about one thing, your survival, and it's very impulsive to the point that she doesn't see herself as this, she sees herself as that. On the other hand, you have another system, very new, very modern, very sophisticated. It has the ability to process a lot of information. I will represent it as a little cell phone because it's very modern. So what does this one do? This one thinks, overthinks, analyzes, predicts, judges, etc., something like that. For example, one day you're driving on the highway and the car in front of you suddenly stops. Boom! The lizard. Before you're aware, the lizard makes you stop. And then your little computer that's always thinking, always finger pointing. Wow, why did he stop? Is he drunk? Is he texting? Was there a car accident? Is there a police officer? Is there a hole in the road? That one is always judging. This one doesn't have the ability to overthink, analyze, predict. Takes everything you say at face value. This one doesn't have the ability to be impulsive and react to save you. Another example, if I say something to you, something like, "Woo!" I startle you. That was your lizard, I'm sorry. Then your little computer, on the other hand, "Wow, that was not nice. Why did she do that for? Anyway, where's her accent from?" So now that you know that this one reacts and this one overthinks, because I just showed you how it works, this is what happens to you on a daily basis. One day, you are very hungry, you overeat. And because you overeat, you get angry. And because you're angry, you call yourself a pig. And because you call yourself a pig, on an impulse, you overeat again, and you get angry again, and you call yourself a pig again, and you look at the box of cookies, and you say, "Oh, only one cookie, only one cookie." And before you know it, boom, you finish the whole box. You are trapped in a loop. What's the part of the loop that you can control? The words. Because sometimes, human nature, you will overeat. You will get angry. But you don't have to call yourself a pig. This one takes everything you say at face value. You say, "You're a pig," and you will eat like a pig. So what if instead of calling yourself a pig, you overeat, you get angry, and you say, "I love myself no matter what." And people might think, "No, that's ridiculous. If I say that, I'm going to eat more." That's not true. The nicer you are to yourself, the better decision process you will have. So you keep on saying that you love yourself, that you can do better, and before you know it, you change your behavior. Another example. One day you're supposed to work on a project, and instead of working on the project, you go to the movies with friends. Then you come home late, feeling guilty and saying, "Oh my gosh, I should have stayed home and worked in the project. I'm very lazy." You're lazy because you're lazy. You keep on procrastinating, and before you know it, you spend all night playing video games and calling yourself lazy at the same time while beating you up. You change the way you say things, and you say, "I love myself. I know I went to the movies. I should have stayed, but I know I can do better. I love myself," and you're kind and compassionate to yourself. Before you know it, you're going to be working on your project. What's the worst loop I have ever seen with my clients? The victim loop. How does the victim loop start? One day, somebody bugs you, and you don't speak up. And you get angry, you feel like a wimp, and you call yourself a wimp. And then somebody bugs you again, and you don't speak up, and you get sad, and you call yourself a wimp again. And the truth is that you don't want to get into the victim loop, because I have met a lot of victims, and you know what happens to them? Everything. Even the nice little puppy from your friends that's cute and nice to everybody, if you are a victim, it will bite you. So if you're already in the victim loop, this is how you get out. Somebody bugs you, you don't speak up, you don't call yourself a wimp or a coward. What you do is say, I'm brave, I'm courageous, and you say it, and you think it, and you sing it in the shower, you just say it and say it and say it. This one is listening. And you know what's going to happen? One day, you're going to be waiting in line somewhere, playing with your phone, minding your business. Somebody's going to cut in line, and you are going to say, excuse me, the line's behind me. And then you're going to be like, oh, I spoke up. I can't believe it. That was your lizard. Now, people ask me, okay, I can say nice things about myself. But what if somebody is mean to me? What if somebody insults me? Because my aunt, when I was little, my aunt told me that I was a good for nothing. And my classmate, she said that I was very ugly. What do I do if somebody insults me? Okay. When I was 7 years old, I thought I was very pretty, like every kid. But my grandmother said to me, you know what? You have a very ugly nose because it's very wide. That's when the nose drama started in my life. I went from pretty to ugly in a few seconds, and I tortured myself for years about my nose, to the point that I would wear a clothespin on my nose every night to make my nose a little thinner. So, and if everyone looked at my nose for 1 second, I would be like, oh my gosh, they're looking at my nose. Like, my life was surrounded about my nose. Even in high school, I thought I was ugly because of my nose, only because my grandma said it to me. So, I want you to realize something. In your brain, you have approximately 50,000 thoughts a day. 50,000 thoughts a day, okay? And let's say that for 10 years, I said every day that I had an ugly nose. So let's do the math. I said it 7 million times because it's 10 years. If I say it 2,000 times a day, at least, that's 7 million times, that I called myself ugly because of my nose. Now, how many times my grandmother said to me that I had an ugly nose? Just once. So what happened after 10 years? Why is it only 10 years? Because after 10 years, when I was 17, I said to my parents, please, please, I want to have nose surgery because I am very ugly. Please, nobody will want to marry me. I am human garbage. Please, I need a surgery. So my parents saw me how dramatic I was about the whole thing. They said, okay, because they really saw me suffering. So I went for the surgery. And the truth is that the doctor didn't change my nose that much because my friends didn't notice. And even my grandmother, I saw her a few months later, and I said, Grandma, do you like my nose now? And she said, yeah, why? What was wrong with your other nose? She said that after 10 years, she didn't remember what she has said. So if you're worried about people bad-mouthing you, don't worry. What happens with people who are bad-mouthing others? They have a hyperactive little computer, out of control. So the people who are bad-mouthing others, they're bad-mouthing you, then they're bad-mouthing me, then they're bad-mouthing their family, their friends, their teachers, then they forget, they run out of people, and they start all over again. The problem is when somebody calls you dumb and ugly once, they move on to bad-mouth somebody else, and then you call yourself dumb and ugly 50,000 times a day, every day, for the rest of your life. That's where the problem is. What do I suggest you do? Stop being humble. And I see many of you thinking, what? Stop being humble. That's not what you learned. Some of you are already reacting like that. Why is she saying not to be humble? You're reacting. That's your lizard. I'm not asking you to be mean, to be rude, to be obnoxious, to be a bad person. I'm not asking you that. You can still be kind, loving, sweet, generous, clean, organized, empathic, polite. Keep all the virtues in the darn dictionary, but one. Because being humble hasn't been working for you, for me, or for anyone I know. I want you to celebrate your accomplishments, to shower yourself with love, to kiss your image in the mirror, to walk with courage, with pride. And then when you start saying nice things about yourself, you're going to start changing your thought process, and that will make you change your self-perception. When you change your self-perception and you realize you're wonderful again, you will be able to present yourself to the world with pride, with confidence, with courage. And that's great, because we, the world, we need your talents. We need your ideas. We need your creativity. You're way too precious to be hiding under the shadow of your insecurities. You can be a good friend. Become your best friend instead of your worst enemy. You know how to praise others. Start praising yourself. And next time somebody asks you if you know yourself, I want you to say, yes, I do. I am a masterpiece. Thank you.